Yesterday's video was on International Michael Antonio Day. Today is a slightly different international celebration. Today is International Why Haven't We Signed Any Fullbacks Yet, Mr. Sullivan Day. It's not so much a celebration for West Ham fans, of course. It's a day of mourning in many respects for West Ham fans. Celebration throughout the rest of the Premier League. So thinking, we can just attack West Ham down the flanks. But that's what this video is all about. I've enlisted some help. I couldn't do it on my own. I've enlisted some help. A bit like the Expendables, but, well, they're not expendable. So we've got Becky and Charlie, more the collectibles, let's say. So they're going to be giving their opinions a little bit later on the fullback situation. Charlie actually sent me his video. You'll enjoy that because he actually passes wind and then tries to pass it off as a squeaky chair. There we go. But he does make some valid points on the fullback situation. Look, here are my thoughts on it. I can't tell you anymore what's more important, right or left, because I do think Ben Johnson will do an adequate job in filling either the right or the left. But I think he needs to be the understudy for both positions. Having said that, I'll start the season with him, either right or left, because I do still think he's our best fullback. Defensively, I think he's very good. He takes up good defensive positions. If it looks like he's getting skinned, he'll foul the opponent. I mean, it's basic stuff, but it's sort of basic stuff that the others aren't really doing. But we need an extra layer to that. We need some attacking threat as well. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Arthur Masuaku can provide some attacking threat. His assists and his goal output. Obviously, he scored one in pre-season. We didn't see it because the cameraman wasn't tracking it, but apparently he did. It's not his output from assists and goals isn't enough considering he's an attacking player. I think Ryan Fredericks has some attacking impetus and some qualities because his pace gets him in there and he's able to overlap. But I think, number one, his footballing abilities are quite limited, so you're going to get a 1 in 10 cross is going to be decent. And I think we saw from Connor Coventry in that friendly against Ipswich just how important a good cross from that side is. I also think defensively it can be found wanting. He uses his speed and his pace to... I don't know why I said speed and pace. They're the same thing, aren't they? But he uses those qualities to get himself out of trouble that he sort of gets himself into. With poor positional sense, Aaron Cresswell, he's been a good servant to the club. I don't really want to labour the point. You all know my opinions on Aaron Cresswell, but I still maintain he was a very, very good signing for us. But it's time for us to get 2 new fullbacks. And that's really it. And when I look at David Moyes, and what this is really all about is why hasn't it happened yet? Why haven't the transfers been made? I think it's a position of some urgency, which is why I contacted the two folks. I was going to say the two guys, the guy and the girl. That's why I contacted the two collectibles to say, let me have your opinion on this. We've heard Mike's opinion on it. Why are we dithering? Why is there dilly-dally on this? This needs to be dealt with yesterday, really. I don't care that there's no funds for this. I understand. I'm very understandable. I understand there's no big Stella signing. There's no Felipe Anderson, no Sebastian Haller. I get it. I understand. But we've recouped some money already. We've saved a ton on wages. Where's our fullbacks? It's really important. It's really important. Actually, at least one is in place for the first game of the season. And it doesn't look like it's about to happen. Not anytime soon. That being said, I was trying to rack my brain, and I was trying to think to myself, how much did we know about Souček before he actually signed? Was it being discussed for days and days? I don't think it was. The same with Bowen. It's easy to think with Bowen, actually. There was a lot of speculation before, but I think that was all fan speculation. I think that was all us. The actual links or that we might well be in for him didn't come until quite late. So I think we're perhaps doing a better job of keeping things quiet. Now, what I mean by that and why that's pertinent at the moment is maybe we are in for someone. Maybe we're just doing a good job of keeping it quiet. If that's the case, I'm sorry. I hold my hands up. I apologise. I'll apologise when the player comes in because at the moment I'm fearing the worst. I'm worrying that we're not close to signing anybody. Becky will touch Rico Henry. She's not going to touch Rico Henry. That would be inappropriate and not the sort of stuff we would feature on this channel. But she's going to touch on the subject of Rico Henry and what a pain in the bum he was to us when we played against Brentford. And And what she's going to be alluding to is very much the qualities that we require, as well as some defensive qualities as well. I just think when David Moyes looks at his team, I'm going to rattle through the team really quickly, but my point when I name every player is, can they play in the Premier League? Can they do a job in the Premier League? So, not even have to be the top team. Let's say we're playing Leicester, we're playing Wolves, which, funny enough, we're going to do very early on in the season. Are you happy to have this player in the team? Can he do a job? Centre forward, can Mikel Antonio do a job? Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the form players in the Premier League. Lovely. Gerard Bowen, Premier League standard? Absolutely. Okay, no problem there. On the left, okay, look, Grady Diangana, we don't know. Felipe Anderson, a bit iffy, for obvious reasons, an understatement, obviously. But Paulo Fornals, right? Not a winger by any stretch of the imagination, but can he do a job for the moment in the Premier League? Well, he proved that at the tail end of last season. It's a square peg in a round hole. It's not ideal, but there's options there. You wouldn't say we're going to be particularly weak in that situation, even though he's not going to start skipping past players. Attacking midfield, you go with Fornals again, you go with Lanzini, maybe plays Mark Noble there. Premier League standard, yes, absolutely. Like Fernandez at Man U, no. All right, not Luka Modric there or anything like that, but Premier League standard could do a job. You're not crapping yourself that they're playing. In the centre, Souček and Declan Rice, Premier League standard. Well, absolutely Premier League standard. Really good. So I think Moyes is looking at his team and thinking, that's fine, that's fine. Centre half, Ogbonna, of course. Diop, yes, I think so. It's not like you're looking at Diop at the start of every game thinking, oh, I'm really, really worried about him. He's going to have an absolute mare. No, Fabianski was only hammered a year before last. Good player, solid player for us. You see where I'm leading with this. The two players that you look at and you think, my goodness, are the fullbacks, the right and left back. There we go. See what Charlie thinks about it.
There's a reason why Pep Guardiola, when he rocked up at City, spent an insane amount of money on fullbacks. Do you remember that one window? He bought Kyle Walker, he bought Danilo, and he bought Benjamin Mendy, and it was for like 70, 80, 90 million combined, right? Probably more than that. Because fullbacks, in my opinion at least, are the most, excuse the squeaky chair, are the most important position in modern day football. Think about the way like football tactic has evolved, going from, your 3 at the backs to your 4 at the backs to 4-4-2 to whatever. Think about the immense weight and pressure that is on those fullback shoulders. Because not only are they defenders in like the literal sense and the tactical sense, they're also one of the primary attackers. Like, I don't know, pick any great fullback from the Premier League. Leighton Baines, for example, gets an insane amount of assists, for a defender, gets an insane amount of goals. Look at any great Premier League team. Look at Liverpool currently, Trent and Andrew Robertson. Big boy ballers, getting big boy assists, doing bits. You'll all notice if you do fantasy football, you're not picking centre backs. you pick a row of fullbacks because they get the points because they're so insanely important. They are up and down the wing non-stop. Go, go, go. What's that phrase? I'll just paraphrase it. Sorry if I'm wrong. You're only as strong as the weakest link in your chain, right? That idea. Say you have I don't know, off the top of my head, a free transfer fullback from Fulham called Ryan Fredericks, and he's at the other end of the pitch, and he's trying to get assists, trying to get involved in goals. That's all great and whatever. If you're not defensively sound enough, and you're not tactically aware enough, the second that team possession crosses over, there's a massive gap there, huge gap. Centre-backs having to try and cover it, defensive midfielders trying to cover it, wingers trying to cover it, and then you're affecting your attacking output again. It's such an insanely important position where everything happens because loads of teams play wide that if you don't spend the money on your fullbacks, which we don't do, you can't do it. Simply put, it just doesn't work out for you. The only fullback I can think of off the top of my head we've spent significant money on in a while is Arthur Masuaku. Arthur Masuaku. In his first video at the club, he said he needed to work on his defending. Man's a defender. Spend money on fullbacks. Sort the problem out.
A chain is as strong as its weakest link, as Charlie very eloquently said in that video there. He's not wrong though, is he? Attacking impetus, that's what he wants. Even gave the example of Leighton Baines, and of course Leighton Baines thrived under David Moyes. So it makes you think David Moyes has got to be looking at this. He's got to know. It's not something that everyone else knows. David Moyes doesn't. So what are we doing? One of two things is happening here. Either David Moyes hasn't highlighted the players, or we're not able to get them. One of them's David Moyes' fault. One of them's somebody else's fault. I'll say no names. I'll name no names. Specky Becky.
So, there is something West Ham haven't done yet, which is genuinely causing me worry and concern, and it is our lack of buying a left back. At the moment, we have one working left back because no one here is convincing me Arthur Masuaku is a working left back. So we are left with Aaron Cresswell. And I've been pretty vocal on here, especially the last few games of last season, about how I feel about Cresswell. And how I feel about his pace, his positioning, just his skill in general at left back. And I think he has made our left side incredibly vulnerable. And I think other teams have definitely picked up on that. And they've just been coming in and ruining our left side because he just isn't on top of it at all. I'm not saying get rid of Cresswell. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't think actually we would be in a position to even do that, because even if we buy another left back for first choice, which we should do, we are still going to be left with a first choice, Cresswell and Masuaku. It's not the most solid position. So we don't get rid of him, but he does need to go back into second choice, and we need to bring in a new left back. 100%. If we don't, I worry that it will just be a repeat performance. I mean, the pre-season has shown us that it's definitely, as it stands, it's just a repeat performance. You know, when we played Brentford, we saw Rico Henry, who we've been linked to, and he just, to be honest, he bossed the pitch. He showed us what a left back should be doing, and it was a bit of an embarrassment. You know, left backs don't command millions and millions. We could find the money. We could find the money for a left back, and I think we urgently need to. And I would be really disappointed if we went into next season starting Aaron Cresswell as our first choice. And I think it would damage us, and I think it will put us in a poorer position, because our defence in general needs strengthening more so than any other position on the pitch. And it's not going to happen. But if there's just one thing West Ham can do, it is bring in a left back, so we don't essentially embarrass ourselves. I know it's strong, but, you know, Cresswell is visibly weak. He's our weak link in our defence. You know, not just him, depending who's playing, but he definitely is the weaker link. And as I said, our left side is super vulnerable. So yes, if there's one thing I want us to do to help us not have a repeat of last season, a lot actually, but a first baby step is to bring in a new left back.
A left back is the one for Becky. It needs to be sorted out. Touching on Rico Henry, as we said, look, I'll tell you what I'd be interested to know in the comments below. What do you think? I know, don't say both, give us one. Left back or right back? What's the most important? Which one should we do? Be interesting just to look through, and I mean, it might be 50-50 when you leave all your comments. It'd be really interesting to see if one is more heavily stacked than the other. I know we need both, but just be interested to see what you think. Right, I will catch up with you lot tomorrow.